Get Ripple, the bright new drink with that ring-a-ding flavor. Ripple.
What do you want me to do?
Do a trick for me.
I
Try to
just
breathe.
trying to breathe proper. It's not working out very well.
Drink some more of your medicine ball.
My Walmart medicine ball. It's really good, huh?
It is good. I kind of love that the drink you brought me and the drink you brought yourself and the blanket you're wrapped up in are all freebie giveaways from different companies.
They are, yeah. And I was actually just thinking about that today because the jacket I had on earlier and the hat that I had on were also freebie
Company.
product. Yeah, merch.
Yeah. Too bad we don't have any Ripple merch.
No, nobody would buy it.
Everyone would buy it. Everyone. Do you have anything fun to tell me?
When was the last time we recorded?
It's been a while.
Ago?
Like 2 weeks. Because this is like probably the longest story I've ever done. It's a 3-parter. And when we were all set to record, we were minutes away from meeting and I was going to hit print on my story. My entire document disappeared.
I don't know how that happens.
I tried every retrieval in the book.
What program are you using?
It's just my Mac Word.
Oh, well, that's why.
No, my Mac is great.
Use Google Drive.
I've never, ever had that happen. 25,000 words gone.
Yeah, I would just say screw it. Be like, you know what? Podcasting, we gave it a good run.
This is where it ends.
Yeah.
Well, I did it again. It took a little while. And now I know my story even that much better.
Okay.
I'm looking at the silver lining.
All right.
There it is.
Okay.
Do you have any stories to tell me?
Let's see. What's happened?
Your dog went to the vet. That's exciting.
Yeah, but I think we talked about that last time.
Okay.
He's been to the vet like 3 times now, but it's okay.
Skinny mini.
Yeah, but he is fine. He's just a puppy. I found another dog.
Just recently.
Yeah, that was exciting. I was driving on the highway and it was over by the Somas Nut House. And you know how there's like...
knows where
everybody knows where the world's famous Somas Nut House is. There's like a dip in the 118 right there. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Where the road kind of like dips down. You can't really see on the other side from either direction.
If you drive really fast, you might get a little bit of air.
Yeah, and a lot of people like to drive really fast right there. So I go down the dip and then all of a sudden I see this big dog out in the middle of the road. I'm like, holy shit. He's running through traffic. He has like no awareness of the cars whatsoever. Like no just any fear or anything. He's just like running around, just having a good time. And I'm like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Like, because every other second there's another car
and they fly
coming over this hump and they can't see the other side until they're to the other side. And of course there's a dog right there. So I pull over and I thought for sure I'm just going to like see him get smashed. And I squat down and I call him to me and he comes running over to me and he's like so sweet. And his tail's just wagging side to side, like full body tail wag.
I will be your friend.
And he got right in the car and he was this big old Malinois, like the police dogs. And he's just like having a good time. Oh, let's go for a car ride.
Where are we going?
Let's do that. So I take him to the animal shelter and apparently somebody came and picked him up right away. So
good.
He was missing. But yeah, that was my excitement.
I had someone just yesterday message me and a bunch of other like local people that live around this street, this block, if you call it that. And she's like, hey, I just found a pig walking out on the road. Is it yours?
Oh, I heard about the pig. Yeah, I heard the pig's at the shelter now.
I don't know. Unless
this is a different pig.
It was yesterday.
Oh, nope. Different pig.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of random animals. I found a pony randomly walking on the road one day. Really cute little spotted pony.
Yeah.
There's been signs for missing tortoises.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so it wasn't my missing pig. I don't have any pigs.
Nope.
How's your Christmas shopping going?
Haven't done any of it.
I'm so far behind.
Well, that's because you've been writing podcast stories.
25,000 words.
That's insane.
Can I tell you my story, part 2?
Sure.
Do you remember what happened when we left off?
When we left off, the guy, I don't remember his name. Danny was building a little forest fort in the woods.
behind
A college.
Correct. You know the name of the college?
Florida something.
Good job. You do remember. I'm going to give you a passing score for that.
Thanks.
So, so last time we met up, Danny Rolling, he had murdered 24-year-old Julie Grissom, her 8-year-old nephew, Sean, and her 55-year-old father, Tom.
Oh, yeah, and that was like totally unrelated to anything that was going on.
Right, it hadn't even been connected. Remember, they found like bite marks on her.
Ugh, creepy.
And her body was like left very like sexually exposed. And he'd committed a whole bunch of other robberies. He'd stolen the ID of that guy named Michael Kennedy. He broke into a guy's house and he stole the identity of his son that had passed away, Michael.
Don't remember any of this.
Oh, okay. Do you remember him shooting his dad?
No.
Do I need to go back?
No, it's fine. I'll pretend I do. I'll go back and listen to the last episode and pretend I totally know what's going on.
He, do you remember him raping a woman, then breaking into another woman's house and stealing her dimes?
Yes. Yeah. Because I just envisioned him wearing cargo pants full of dimes.
And then he did a whole bunch of other really bad things. So in today's story, he's like currently out on the run. Like you said, he's camped out in the woods about 2 miles away from the University of Florida in a town called Gainesville. So he has this little campsite and he has a mattress and a tent that he bought at the local Gainesville Walmart. And while he was shopping for his little tent area, he noticed and followed and watched these 2 girls named Sonia Larson and Christina Powell.
Uh-oh.
The 2 girls, they're buying some new items for their apartment. They're incoming students of the university.
Okay.
And they're just, getting some last minute fun things for their apartment where school's going to start and just getting it all ready. So as Danny's following these girls around, kind of like creeping like through aisles and whatnot, like maybe an aisle away, but watching them, he's carrying with him a screwdriver, a roll of duct tape, and 2 pairs of gloves.
Oh, that's not suspicious.
Not at all. And some say he actually like paid for these items, and other people say that he stole them. So I don't know. So here's just a little bit about Sonia. So Sonia Jane Larson was 18 years old. She was planning on becoming an educator. She loved working with children and had worked at a daycare center. She volunteered in Sunday school and she sang in the youth choir. She was an honors student. She volunteered at our high school, just trying to make the high school like a more welcoming place for other students. She also managed the girls' varsity basketball team. She played softball. She was a member of Mu Alpha Theta, which was like a mathematics society.
Never heard of it.
No. And she was also a member of SAD, which is Students Against Drunk Driving. So she just sounds like an all-around,
it's a lot of things.
Good person.
Sounds exhausting.
And then Christina, or Christy, as how she kind of was known by her friends, Powell, she was 17 years old, and she had dreams of becoming an architect. She was the youngest of 7 children and the first one to be going away to college. Her best friend from high school, named Allison Emery, she like shared this quote about her friend Christy, and it just totally brought me back to like my high school, college days. And it says, quote, "We spent all our time when we weren't in school driving around town in a red convertible with the top down, even if it was 45 degrees. The radio blasting with our sunglasses on. We thought we were as cool as they come." I was just like, oh, that's a sweet little memory of your friends.
Also, nobody can do that anymore.
Why?
Just drive around to drive around?
Oh, because you can't afford gas.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like not a thing anymore.
No. I can't believe how much I spent on gas recently. It's insane. So these 2 girls, they had met the summer before, or just that summer before school started, and they decided to get an apartment together since all of the dorms were full. And Sonia's mom, she actually hated the fact that they were going to live off campus for freshman year, but there weren't really any other options if she was going to go to the university that year. So after the girls left for Walmart, Danny followed them to their apartment. He made it so he could like watch their every mood while he was dressed in all black, including a ski mask and the gloves he had gotten from Walmart.
He was wearing the ski mask?
He was like hidden out, but so he could see through their windows.
Oh.
So he's dressed, in dark, and it's, late. And so he's got, a ski mask on his face and gloves on his hands and dressed in all black. And he's probably hiding out like in bushes or in shadows and stuff, but watching them.
That's creepy. I wouldn't imagine that you would see very many ski masks around Florida.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he didn't, they said, the ones I read, he didn't get the ski mask from Walmart.
Oh, okay.
So maybe he got that from somewhere else. So around 3 a.m., he snuck up to their apartment that was on the second floor. So I looked at pictures of the apartment, and it almost looks like a townhouse, like where there's multi-levels. Like the downstairs is maybe like the kitchen and like family room, and then upstairs is the bedrooms.
Yeah. Okay.
So he sneaks up to their apartment that was on the second floor with this. He had like a K-bar knife, a rifle. He had the duct tape and the gloves. And he entered the Williamsburg apartments through the downstairs entrance. So he used the screwdriver and wedged it into the door jamb, and he was able to open the door, and he creeps inside. Danny Rolling came into the apartment around 3 a.m. and he sees Christy Powell asleep on the couch. The reason she was sleeping downstairs on the couch was because her sister was actually supposed to be delivering her bed the next day.
Oh.
So he stands over her, watching her sleep for a while before he goes upstairs to where Sonia Larson was asleep in her bedroom. Danny attacks Sonia. He stabs her in the chest, and he duct taped her mouth shut.
Wait, sorry. Which one? Was she in the bed?
She was upstairs.
Okay.
So he let the other girl stay asleep on the couch downstairs.
Weird.
He stabs her in the chest. He tapes her mouth shut. He continues stabbing and just slashing at her body. Thankfully, in a way, like she died soon after her attack began, according to the coroner's report.
Okay.
But still. So after he kills Sonia, he goes back downstairs to where Christy is still asleep, and he tapes her mouth shut and her arms behind her back. He used his K-bar knife to cut off her clothing, and he rapes her.
Ugh.
He then forced her to lay face down on the floor, where he stabbed her 5 times in the back. Danny then went to the girl's kitchen and ate an apple and a banana.
That's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard about that before.
I think the is it not Golden State? Somebody huge. Why am I blanking?
Was it Golden State Killer?
Someone else like went into a kitchen and ate fruit.
And like made sandwiches.
And just like chilled in the kitchen and while there's a dead body.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I don't understand that. So before he leaves the apartment, he washes both of the girls' bodies with this like soap detergent cleaner stuff. And he goes back upstairs and he poses Sonia's body. So he lays her out, and like her feet are on the ground, but her body's on the bed. So it's kind of like, if you're just like going into your room and you just kind of like poof lay back.
Okay.
So your knees and your feet are still bent over. Her arms were above her head, and her hair was fanned out around her face. Her legs were spread open as to cause as much shock and horror to anyone that would like find her. Her body was so badly mutilated that dental records had to be used to like officially ID her, which is terrible.
Was the detergent supposed to be used to like wash evidence away?
That's what they think. Yeah. So he's trying to get like, DNA or fingerprints, but he also removes the tape from their mouth and hands and washes that kind of like residue, stickiness away as well.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that like after being stabbed that many times, any attempt to wash away anything would just create like more
mess.
Yeah. I don't know. That's really weird. And it's also like, I don't know. You said it's different levels, but I would still think that like if somebody was being stabbed to death above me, I would wake up.
Okay, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right on there. So Christy, the girl that was on the couch, she was posed facing the front door. So like anyone that came through the front door would see her instantly. She was posed in like a similar way, like to just, you know, degrade her as much as possible, even after she was dead. Just totally, just, I mean, I don't want to say this, but like almost raping them again after death, but just by like visual.
Just exploiting.
Yeah, horrible. Christy's nipples had been cut off and were missing from the crime
Why
scene.
is that so
painful to you?
Yes.
This was heartbreaking, but the girls hadn't even finished unpacking all of their belongings. There was like boxes and stuff in the apartment still. I just thought that was.
And how did he get in?
He used a screwdriver and wedged it in the door.
That's
and
all
like,
it took, huh? Wow.
So the next day around 4 p.m., the Gainesville Police Department officer, his name's Ray Barber, he was about to finish his shift. He gets a call about loud music being played. And he kind of like didn't really pay that much of attention to it because, you know, school's going to be starting and everyone's
College
like
town.
getting excited again. And they've got music on while they're getting their rooms ready. So he also got a call as well. They called it like to assist a citizen. So he radioed in that he would stop by the Williamsburg Village Apartments on his way home. He met the person that had called in. It was like a maintenance worker, and he was there with the building manager, and they had been talking with the parents of Christy and Sonia, and they wanted the police officer to come open their apartment door.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So the parents had been trying to contact their kids and hadn't heard from them. And I guess that's also kind of normal. You know, kids go away to college and they're excited and they're living their own life.
But not when the family's bringing the bed the next day.
There was like a plan for them to meet, and they couldn't get a hold of the girls. The policy of the apartment was if they were going to go into a room with like a master key, they would always call authorities
Yeah,
first.
that seems pretty standard.
It's a very...
Unless it's your own room that you
Right.
got locked out of.
So
But
even
yeah.
though the parents were saying like, oh my gosh, this is my kid's room, they still had to wait for authorities to come.
And was that where the music was playing too?
Kind of.
Okay.
So like I said, Ray, the officer, he wasn't real worried. When he spoke, though, to the Powell parents, they told him that, you know, Christy had known they were driving into town to bring her stuff, and they noticed that her car was still parked nearby. So they knew that she hadn't gone anywhere.
Okay.
And so that's when he was like, okay, that's a big red flag. And then this is a quote from the apartment manager. And that says, quote, "When the officer went in, I followed him in the apartment and I saw the young lady on the bed. And I just turned around and walked out." And she says, "My maintenance man, unfortunately, ran down the stairs screaming, 'Oh my God,' and came out and threw up." And the sad part about it is that we had the parents right behind us on the stairs.
So, okay. They walked in,
Yes.
but they saw the girl on the bed first?
I think she probably means like couch.
Okay.
Like laying down is what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. She just said bed.
Okay.
Yeah. So as more officers were dispatched and the crime scene investigators were called, the media also got word of the murders. And the other renters in the apartment came out, and they're all being interviewed, and they're trying to figure out what happened. Most of the people in that apartment didn't even know who these girls were yet because they were just moving in. One person said that they had heard loud music being played, and it was George Michael's Faith song. You know that, you gotta have faith, faith. And it was just playing on repeat, like over and over and over again.
Was it an alarm clock?
I didn't say, but this person that they interviewed that heard the music said they also heard loud banging happening. But he figured that the girls were just like hanging up pictures. So he didn't really pay that much of attention to it either. So it's a good chance that the banging wasn't pictures after all. So as interviews were being conducted, a young woman walked up to the apartments. An officer asked her name as she was trying to get inside. She told them that her name was Elsa Strepp. And when he heard this name, he called another officer over and they escorted Elsa away. And she was actually taken to the county crisis center, where they informed her that her two roommates had been murdered
Holy
the night before.
Where was she?
She was just out. She wasn't there.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost like, what's her name? Amanda Knox.
Tell me
The
more.
Amanda Knox case. She's the foreign exchange student from the U.S. and Italy. And she was out with her boyfriend when her roommate got murdered. Super famous. And then she was like in prison for like a year because they blamed it on her.
Yes. Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's just like crazy.
Wrong place.
I would think that you
or
would
right
have
place, yeah.
extreme survivor's guilt.
Oh,
but
absolutely. And it's really good they took her directly to the crisis center for her to get it.
I wonder if she knew them.
Well, it's an apartment, so it's not like the dorms you're being like randomly signed up. It did say that they were friends.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know to what extent, like how they had known each other or anything. So the police continued to investigate the scene. But less than 24 hours later, and less than 2 miles away, they would be investigating another crime scene. On August 25th, Danny Rolling broke into the home of another college student named Christina Hoyt. He had been watching Christina through her windows a few days earlier and thought that she resembled his ex-wife. Christina Hoyt had been working for the records department of the sheriff's office and wanted to one day have a career in criminal justice and possibly work as a police officer. Danny broke into her apartment using the same screwdriver to open her sliding glass door.
What is wrong with these apartment doors that they can be opened with the freaking screwdriver so easily?
Okay, so I thought that, but then I thought also, I used to go to my friend's house all the time, and if she wasn't home, that's how I'd get into her house. There was a little thing, like a little teeny latch that I could stick my pinky finger in and move and unlock the sliding glass door. That's how, like if she wasn't home but I was supposed to be meeting her, that's how I'd get in her house all the time.
That's crazy.
So
that's why you have those dowels, wooden dowels that you put on your sliding doors and your windows.
Yes, absolutely.
And then just like stay strapped at all times.
So Danny broke into her apartment using that same screwdriver. He again carried his K-bar knife and his pistol, and he walked into her apartment. She wasn't actually home at the time, so he hid and waited for her to return.
Oh, I hate that.
He pounced on her from behind as she walked in the door and grabbed her in a chokehold. He taped her mouth shut and her hands together and forced her into her bedroom. He tore off her clothing with this knife and he raped her. Or like depending on, like if you read interviews from him, he goes, oh yeah, I tore off her clothes and then I played with her.
Ew.
Which is just, oh, he's such a monster.
I was wondering where this was coming from because you said like he picked her because she resembled his ex-wife.
Right.
So is he just like selling his story? That's kind of creepy.
He did quite a few interviews.
I hate that. He shouldn't be allowed to.
No, because
he's getting like glory from it.
And we'll talk about this a little bit too, like later, but he wanted to be famous. That was kind of his thing. He wanted to be known.
Dedicating an entire series of podcast
3
episodes to him.
He's horrible, but
gross.
It's good that that's kind of why I want to talk about the people that he killed. Like tell who they were as well. I want them to be remembered and known. So he forced her on her belly, where he then stabbed her through the back so hard that it actually ruptured her aorta. And so he's got kind of a style now, if you will. He uses his knife, he cuts off their clothes, he rapes them, and then he forces them to actually look away from him, which I think is just such a pussy way of murder. If you're going to murder someone, like let them have.
Yeah, there's the whole cliche of you stabbed me in the back. It's a coward thing to do.
That's exactly what he's doing.
That you can't actually face the person
and watch what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's terrible. So he again removes the duct tape, washes her body, and poses it. Her body was it's going to get real bad. Like it's already been bad, but it's going to get a little worse right now. Her body was propped up in kind of like a hunched over sitting position on the edge of her bed. Again, he made it so she was like being sexually exposed after death. He cuts off her nipples and places them on the bed next to her body.
Who was that guy who made the nipple belt? Go ahead. I'll look it up.
Okay. Her torso was sliced open, gutting her, pubic bone all the way to her chest. And remember in Scream, I don't know if you've ever got a chance to watch it or not yet.
No, I haven't.
But there's this one scene where they're all like sitting together on like a fountain having lunch. And the main girl, Neve Campbell, she goes, how do you gut someone? Because like the victims in the movie have been being gutted. And the guy goes, you cut him like a fish, and you just, cut him from like, I'm going to mess up the actual line, but he says like from pretty much what they did in the real story was you cutting them from like pubic bone all the way to the chest. It just opened up. Is it not pubic?
No, I'm just wondering why we need to know this much detail.
Oh, because
it's
that's
so
about
bad.
Oh, because it's
it
related to the movie.
I don't remember that. I didn't go back and watch the movie. I need to do that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
you do.
By the way, it was Ed Gein.
Oh,
he made all kinds of things out of people,
out of bodies, and that's kind of like what is it? Misery? No. Silence of the Nope. What's the movie when he makes the skin suit?
I think that was Silence of the Lambs. I don't remember. I think it was. There's a lot of horror movies based off of Ed Gein. They've like not based off of him, but inspired by him.
Taken by horrible things he's done.
Yes.
Okay, so he guts her. And then he decapitates her and places her head on a bookshelf.
Oh my God.
And the bookshelf wasn't even in that room. He actually had to move the bookshelf from another room into her bedroom so he could place her head on it.
Ugh.
He positioned the body and the head as though her head was looking at her decapitated body. He then had taken a bunch of mirrors that were from, random places in the house and sets them up so it's almost like you're walking into a fun house and you're just seeing hundreds of this image of a decapitated body and the head.
Okay, so he's spending a lot of time, like he's taking his sweet time.
Well, yeah, he ate an apple and a banana in the other girl's house.
Well, this is a little bit more than eating an apple and a banana.
He's doing some like serious redecorating.
That's insane. So I would imagine doing all of that, you've got to be just drenched in blood. So how does he just walk away after that? And where does he go?
Back to his little tent.
But his tent doesn't have a shower?
I don't know. Isn't Florida like have lots of ocean?
Swamps, I guess. I don't know, but there's like
go
snapping
swim
turtles
with
and
some
gators.
Alligator, would you?
Oh, that's so weird.
So Christina was scheduled to be at work on August 25th, and she was late for her shift, which was totally not typical of her at all. Her shift supervisor gets worried, and he had some deputies go by her house to check on her. And they send out 2 of the deputies. So one of them knocks on the front door, and when he didn't get an answer, he walks around towards the back, and he notices that the fence had been kind of like trampled down, and he instantly knew something was wrong. He also noticed that one side of Christina's blinds were raised up. They were like bamboo style blinds, I guess, and like the kind you roll, and if you roll it like not at the right speed, it kind of goes like cattywampus or whatever.
Sure.
So like it was like that. So just like one little corner of it was raised up. So he was able to like kneel down and look through the window, and that's when he saw Christina's body. One of her coworkers said, "I did not want to see that young lady that meant so much to me. I did not want that to be what I carried in my mind of her for the rest of my life." So the town of Gainesville now is like getting pretty scared. They know that they've got like a serial killer or killers on their hands, and They start sleeping together in like common areas of dorm rooms. They're actually taking shifts to sleep.
Ugh.
Students were buying bats, mace, and guns. I watched this whole interview of this guy that was just like out at a gun store, and he's just interviewing parents and students, and like they're saying like, oh, I don't, I've never owned a gun before, but I feel like I need one now. I'm scared.
Yeah, I don't blame them at all.
No.
I would definitely would need that.
There's helicopters circling the area at night with their spotlights, just checking everything out. The security totally gets upped. No one was walking alone at night or even in the daytime. Parents were constantly checking in on their kids. Many students like left the college and never returned to the campus. And thoughts of like Ted Bundy as being like a copycat were kind of coming up. So just a day later, Danny goes to murder again.
So he wants to get caught.
He's can't get enough of it. He's like getting a high off of this.
So weird.
It's disgusting.
We need to look into the psychology of that, because obviously we talked about a lot of childhood trauma, super horrible, awful things that should never happen to anybody happen to him.
Right.
But at what point does it go from, well, we can't blame him because he is so messed up by the people who raised him, to you are a terrible, awful, evil person? Like there's a gray area there that obviously he's crossed into being just horrible and awful. I don't know. It's just really weird, because then you hear about other stories about people who have had horrible upbringings,
right,
and they turn into amazing people that
they
are probably
take the trauma that they've had in their life and they turn it around to make it better.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just so bizarre. And
yeah, what makes a person a killer, period? I don't know.
Let's figure it out.
Okay. So around 3 a.m. on August 27th, he broke into another apartment. Tracy Paulus and Manuel Tabata.
Tabata? Like the workout?
Oh, that is a good workout. And he was buff.
Well, he is in, what was it called? Gainesville?
Gainesville.
I've been thinking about that every time you say Gainesville. I'm just imagining a bunch of super ripped dudes walking around carrying protein canisters.
Why? What does Gainesville mean? Like you're
Gainesville?
just gaining? Like is it like the slang?
For the gains.
Yeah. Oh, that did not even cross my
Really?
mind. No.
I think that every time I'm in Thousand Oaks, there's like that one main road that goes through a big portion of the city called Gainesboro.
Oh, yeah.
Like gains, bro.
Gains, bro.
Getting those gains, bro.
Well, Tracy and Manuel, they shared an apartment together. They were like really good friends. And Danny takes his stupid little screwdriver and he opens their sliding glass door. And the first room he went into was Manny's. And Manny is a big guy. He's like a strong football player. He was close to 200 pounds and like 6'2", 6'3". So if, Manny was equally armed with Danny the douche, he probably could have taken him. But since he was asleep and unarmed, Danny had the upper hand. And this was another thing that kind of like, maybe I'm just like looking for connections. But in the first scene of Scream, when Drew Barrymore is on the phone and she's getting scared and like talking to the Ghostface killer, she's like, my boyfriend's gonna be here any minute and he's like big and he's strong and he'll kick your ass. So I wonder if that's like a nod to Manny or if it's just Hollywood writing.
Couldn't tell ya.
Because they do kill her boyfriend in the movie as well.
Oh.
So Danny attacks Manny and he stabs him in his solar plexus first, and that penetrates his thoracic vertebrae. Do you know where all of that is?
It's one of your vertebrae. It's not the C's, it's the T's.
It stabs him in the chest, but he stabbed him so hard
It went all the way through
to his
him?
back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But Danny's like, whoa, what was that? Wakes up, starts fighting him off. And Danny's stabbing him in the belly and he just kept attacking him all over his arms, his legs, his chest, his hands, his face. Eventually, Manny like succumbed to his wounds. He had been stabbed 31 times.
Okay. So previously, all of the others have been college-age girls.
Young.
Well, no, not the family, but that was like because he was enraged because of the restaurant thing. But why is he now targeting these? Excuse me. Why is he now targeting these two dudes?
It's one girl and Manny.
Oh, okay.
So from what I've read, a lot of people say, and even I think maybe Danny confirmed, he didn't think Manny was going to be there. He thought like just Tracy was going to be in the house.
Oh, okay.
So Manny was kind of like, oh shit type person that he like killed because he had to. And he'll kind of say
didn't
that.
Have to kill any of them.
Yes, correct. So Tracy, she's like, hears these noises coming from Manny's room, and she wakes up and she comes to see what's going on, and she sees Danny on top of Manny's body, and she takes off running to her room and she locks the door. Danny sees her and chased after her. He was able to break down her door and get to Tracy.
This has got to be really loud.
Yeah, but this, I don't know if this was an apartment. I feel like this was a house. Nope. Apartment. An apartment. But maybe because it is a college town, they're used to loud noises at 3 a.m. I don't know. I've never lived in apartments. So I can't have any say in any of that. But so he gets to Tracy's door, opens it, breaks it down, and she looks at him like dead in the face, and she says, "You're the one, aren't you?" And he responds, "Yeah, I'm the one." And then he tapes her mouth and hands, tears off her clothing, rapes her, forces her face down on the bed, and stabs her 3 times in the back.
Did she die?
She did.
See, okay, and again, it's like, okay, we're hearing that because he told us that.
So is he
could have made
embellishing
that shit up.
100%? And yeah, is he trying to make himself
Yes,
sound like
I think he
like
is, and I hate
tough
it.
out? Yeah. So again, he cleans the body of Tracy. He removes her duct tape. He poses her to degrade her as much as possible, and he leaves her in the hallway. Manny's body actually was just like left in his room, totally untouched. And he later reports that the only reason he killed Manny was to get to Tracy. So that's kind of what I was saying earlier. So a few friends had been trying to get in touch with Manny. And I'm assuming there was some kind of like phone chain, like check-in with people. Like, okay, have you talked to Angela today? No. Have you? No, I'll call her right now and I'll get back to you. Like, because people are worried about their friends. They're doing like a check-in. But no one could seem to be able to get in touch with him. So they go over to his house to check to see what's going on. And again, they had to get someone to unlock the door since no one was answering. As soon as the door was opened, they saw Tracy's body in the hallway. Next to her was a dark bag. They slammed the door shut and called the police. Police were on the scene within 5 minutes, but when they went inside, the dark bag was gone.
What?
Mm-hmm. There was a towel under Tracy's body, and her hair was still wet. So it's guessed that Danny was actually finishing up with the cleaning of her body and was probably going to mutilate and pose it like he did to the others when he heard the door being open.
Holy shit, they were that close.
Mm-hmm. So that same day, a First Union Bank that was about half a mile from Christina Hoyt's home, the girl that wanted to be a police officer, was robbed of around $7,000 by 2 armed gunmen. A suspect that matched the description of one of the robbers was seen walking near the woods. Police chased these 2 men, but only apprehended one. And the one that they apprehended was a man named Tony Danzy. And if I say Danza, you have to correct me.
I was just going to say that.
Well, when I was searching Tony Danzy, like Google says, did you mean Tony Danza? The other suspect ran and hid in the woods. When they were looking for the man that escaped, they found a campsite with money that had exploded pink dye on it. a brown ski mask, and a semi-automatic handgun. So they get Tony and they question him, like, who's this other guy that robbed the bank with you? And he tells them that it was a man named Michael Kennedy. That was the
identity
ID.
that was.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
So Tony and Michael, or Danny, had met a week earlier, and they liked to do crack cocaine together.
Oh, fun times.
Yeah. And so obviously Danny was using not only the stolen ID, but the whole like using that as his name to people. Hey, I'm Michael Kennedy. So since his buddy had been caught, Danny knows like he needs to book it out of town.
Wait, how long has his buddy? He's only been around for like a week. He befriended this guy and they just smoked crack together?
Well, yeah, and they rob a bank for $7,000. Sounds like a really good friendship.
When did they rob the bank?
The same day that Manny and Tracy's bodies were found.
Wow, the things you can get done when you're on crack.
Seriously. So he steals a car. He drives to Tampa, where he robs a grocery store and then steals another car. At this point, police know for sure that they have a serial killer on their hands, and they like can't really hide it from the public anymore. So they want to act fast to catch this person. They have a tip line already opened up, and there's a whole bunch of calls coming in. Thousands of like suspects are being identified. Ex-boyfriends, husbands, this random person that maybe acted strange in a grocery store. Like everyone at this point could be the killer in like the public's mind. But every tip, you know, has to be like checked and cross-checked just to make sure that it's not the real killer, or maybe it is. They want to catch him. But there's this one name that seems to be reported more than any other, and he even had like a close connection to one of the murders. And his name was Edward Lewis Humphrey. And that's where we're stopping tonight.
Oh, so we don't know anything about Edward Lewis Humphrey.
Not yet.
Huh. Well, I hope he's just a good guy in the very unfortunate circumstances.
We will see.
Okay.
So isn't that horrible?
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
Yeah.
Pretty disturbing.
Very graphic.
Yeah.
Very just terrible.
It really is. It makes me want to lock my doors more. Yeah, it's fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on that.
When are you going to give us the ripple to where like everything gets fixed and everybody lives happily ever after? And
that'll be next week.
It's weird that like I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, watch a lot of true crime TV shows and stuff. And obviously this is a well-known case because they based a movie on it, but I've never heard of this before.
I had neither. This is a listener sent this in,
and it's not really that old.
It's not. And I like kind of searched to listen to other podcasts, and there were quite a few podcasts. A lot of small ones had done it, but there is so much information. That's why I've spent so much time on this, because I want to hear everything. I'm reading like the court transcripts. There's a lot of information. I'm just trying to get it all out there. But yeah, next week it'll kind of tie it all in a neat little bow.
I'm actually surprised that we hear about Ted Bundy so often, and this has like a lot of similarities to Ted Bundy.
And it's newer than Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
It's a more recent case.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's like the time frame, because did all of these things happen in like a short period of time versus Ted Bundy, who did it for quite a while?
He kind of like tormented the public for a longer time. Yeah, this is happening within, days. He's like,
that's
one
insane.
murder, then another murder. This all of his murders happen within 5 days.
Really?
Well, except for the first 3, like the lady, the dad, and the nephew.
Wow.
But the other people, the college students and Manny, All of those murders were within 5 days.
It's really interesting that they would escalate that quickly to go.
I'm wrong. I have it backwards. It's 5 murders in 3 days.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because the 2 girls, the roommates.
Okay.
Then the girl that wants to be the sheriff officer, and then Tracy and Manny.
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 murders in 3 days.
That's insane.
And a robbery.
Wow.
Actually, multiple robberies. Yeah, he's a freaking whack job.
Well, clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Can you finish this with something like 2 truths and a lie to kind of lighten the mood?
Yes.
Because this is
I'm
not a
on
fun
it.
way to end.
So I don't have 2 truths and a lie just because it was way too much work to come up with a lie right now. But I did find this really interesting article since we're talking about serial killers. And I don't know if we've ever covered an actual serial killer. Have we?
We're like on probably our 80-something. Our 80-something episode. You don't think we've done any other serial? We don't know if we've done any other
The Blood Countess. Countess. The Blood Countess.
But was she, sometimes, if people look at her story, some people say that she didn't even really do any of that and it's all like fable. So I don't know.
I don't know. I can't think of any.
The doll collector.
But he didn't kill people.
He didn't kill. He just dug them up.
Yeah, I actually try to avoid
serial killers.
Or killers in general. No, I've had quite a few. But I mean, I feel like so many other podcasts are covering it. I try to find stories that are like a little bit
out there.
But since this has like that unique connection with our whole Ripple theme to go along with the movie.
Yeah. I'm super invested. I can't wait to tell you what happens.
Yeah.
Because it's a trip where this goes.
Okay.
There's a lot more twists and turns.
Well, this has really gotten me thinking about serial killers. And I found this article from Vox, and it's data from 3,000 murderers and 10,000 victims and what this data tells us about serial killers. So I'm just going to scroll through and read a couple of them, some interesting facts. So this first poll here is about the most serial killers kill for this reason. Okay. So what would you think, like, out of any reason, why would
Sexual gratification.
Possibly. It says the first 31.8%, which is the highest percentage, is for enjoyment. So I wonder if that would fit in there. I'd have to read the specifics.
Just because it's fun?
Apparently.
Go to fucking Disneyland.
Well, there's other things you can do for sexual enjoyment as well. Financial gain.
Well, yeah, I'm not getting sexual enjoyment going to Disneyland. I'm just having fun there.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, you said sexual enjoyment is the number one reason. Like, you get it.
To enjoy
right?
life.
You
just
know what I mean.
Life. Yeah. Go on a run.
I don't know about that. Followed by financial gain, which is 30%. After that is anger.
Well, the financial gain, that sounds like more, is that still serial killer-ish?
This is still serial killers.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I would think, like, if you're going to kill someone for their financial gain, you usually have to know, like, a little bit about them. Like, if you're going to marry some guy and then, like, off him for his money.
That's what I was thinking, like a Black Widow situation.
Okay.
After that is anger.
Well, okay.
Well, no, like, you're getting revenge on people, You're like, I
still feel like that,
none of these are going to be good reasons.
No, they're all horrible.
You're not going to find any of them and be like, you know
no,
what?
You're right.
That makes
you get
sense.
a pass.
Okay. I don't know. If pedophiles were on there, I might say they get a pass.
Wait. Oh, if you're out killing pedophiles.
We should cut that part out. But yeah. Let's see. I'll read you a couple others. Okay, so this is an interesting one. This one says smarter serial killers prefer bombs and poison. And this graph shows the relevance of the choice of weapon, I guess.
Oh,
and IQ.
Interesting.
So the people who had higher IQs picked bombs, followed by poison, followed by strangulation.
Wait, again, I'm going to stop you.
Yes.
Are there multiple serial killers that use bombs?
Well, there's the Unabomber.
And
I don't know. I mean, I will have to look into that. I'm not sure.
That's
I bet there
interesting.
is.
Well, obviously, if this is telling us that, the internet's always right. But that's interesting. I would have not have guessed that would be the first one. I would think knives.
But okay, say you're super intelligent and you have like this evil plan and you are capable of creating an explosive that will hit a specific target. That gives you a lot of distance from your victim too.
Yeah, there's a lot less of that emotional, like human contact, like human interaction.
But also gives you a lot greater opportunity to evade police.
True.
So
it seems like the biggest pussy way to do it. Like you're not even involved. You're just like placing it somewhere and hitting a button.
Yeah. Again, like we're not going to find anything and be like satisfied with like, you know what? That's okay.
I hate all of it.
Victims. What would you think would be more common for a victim?
Female.
Male. You think female? Mm-hmm. It's just about equally split.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's 48.
That's very surprising to me.
48% male and 51% female. That's actually not surprising to me. Because if you looked further down on that list of reasoning, underneath anger was gang activity. And typically I think that's more men involved in gang activity than women. Or am I wrong? You're looking at me like I'm wrong.
No, I'm just thinking again, gang, like I guess they're going out and just killing all the opposing gang member.
Like initiations.
Yeah.
Age. What would you think is the average age
of a serial killer?
Yes.
31.
You're close. Actually, more than half are below the age of 30. So the most fall into the range of 20 to 29.
I wonder who the oldest serial killer was.
Well, 3% are 80 plus.
What?
See, now I've got to find out, like, okay, who else had bombs? What 80-plus-year-old serial killer was there? This one I think is really interesting, too. So this shows the map of the United States, and I like that they gave me the little names for each state because I wouldn't know what each one was.
Good.
But per capita, which areas, if you just had to guess, have the highest rate of serial killers?
What do you mean by area? Like
state.
Texas. Florida.
Florida's up there. Florida is, what is this? This is serial killer victims per 100,000 per capita by state. And Florida falls into the 4 to 5 range. But what's really interesting to me, which kind of makes sense, but I don't think you would have guessed it, is Alaska is up there with the highest.
You know, I have heard that.
Yeah.
I have heard that before. I guess Texas just because it's the biggest.
Yeah, but we're going per capita.
Yeah. I've heard there's something to do with like the darkness. Like they don't get enough light.
They just lose their minds.
Maybe, but vitamin D is supposed to give you like happy feelings.
I was just thinking you don't have near as much authority there. Like there's nobody coming to look for somebody who goes missing depending on where you are. There's no local police officer that's doing a cruise around the block.
I don't know. That's a trip.
Yeah. And then finally, the year where serial killers were at a peak in recent history.
87.
Nailed it. You knew that.
No, I
really?
Just guessed.
Oh, yeah. 87. That was the highest year. Lots of interesting stuff.
That is, you'll have to save that page and we'll have to
talk about it more.
Yeah, or reference it for future stories because there's some crazy stuff on there. Okay, well, if you have a story that you want us to research and do a future episode on, send us a message.
We have a couple still that we need to get to that we've received on Instagram, so we will get to your story.
Yeah. I love it. I love it when they're suggesting stuff for us.
Like, because what I was just saying earlier, I don't think this is a story I would have, A, I would have known about, and B, would have picked simply just because it's a serial killer. I'm like, well, you know, other people do that, but this is super interesting.
Good. I'm glad. Okay, so, next week we will find out what happens to this asshole named Danny and his horrible events that he is creating. But until then, don't forget to be a fountain.
Not a drain.
Bye.